Right, 19 April 2024, and today I've got a very quick update. We do not have much news today because most of the newspapers were closed yesterday. So most people have been on holiday. If you saw our coverage yesterday, you will see that the towns were almost empty. There was not many people in the cities, and obviously we continue to give you updates on a daily basis. So obviously people were in Mrabinda, where they were dealing with the independence celebrations, and President Ed Mnangagwa lit the torch of independence here. So you can see this was the festivities just a week after General Chiwenga also lit the same torch in Manicaland. So a lot was happening in Manicaland, and we'll see what happens. This is probably one of the most publicized events for independence. Dynamos played with Highlanders, and Dynamos won 1-0. So this is probably something that gripped everyone's attention yesterday. And today I'm not going to take long. I've got a quick update. And so let me look at this quickly so that we have an understanding of what was going on. Is this an assassination? And who are the guys who are involved? I know that there are families of the army, of the army officers here, the majors, and I want to make sure that I do not misrepresent these guys. I don't want to make them appear as if they were on a mission that maybe they were not. But what I want to focus on today is who are the people that were in the accident, the officers who died, and what happened on that day, and what is happening now with the investigation. The problem that we have right now is that the Zimbabwe official state media is not giving the correct information on what is happening. They claim that General Vezha survived the accident. We all know that he died on that day. They also claim that the 4 soldiers were traveling in the same car. This is not true. What we found out is that the 2 cars that were involved in this accident were all army majors. They were not in the same car. So one was coming from somewhere else and another one was driving the opposite direction. And there is a 3rd car that is missing. No one can find that 3rd car where it is. And the reason is that there is a claim that there's no toll gate in between those areas where the accident happened. So if you know the area that we're talking about here, battlefields, it's a very dangerous area to drive at night. We showed you 2 weeks ago 4 teachers that died in that same area in a head-on collision with the tanker. And this happened at night. The roads in Zimbabwe are very, very bad. If you travel at night, you are most likely to die. But in this particular case, I want to show you Major Tabani Ncube, and he is here. He is one of the guys that passed away, and he was in one car. Major Tabani Ncube is from Masvingo. He's based in Masvingo in terms of his deployment, and he passed away in the accident. He was on one side. Then there was General Vezha on one side. That is the guy you're looking at here. He was on the other car, and he was on his way from his farm in Kwekwe. So General Tabani Ncube was coming from, and I keep saying General here, you must forgive me. I'm not in the army, so I don't know these ranks. So I'm probably butchering the rank right now. But he was traveling in one direction, and he was coming from a graduation ceremony. That is what I have been told by guys who know. And he was coming from a graduation ceremony. He then crashed head on with the Major Vezha here. And the accident was then reported through military channels immediately as it happened. So this whole thing took about 30 minutes, and the military knew that this had happened, but they thought that the general was dead and no one else. On arrival, it is said that they found that unfortunately 2 military cars, 2 senior military officials had been involved in a collision. And at that particular point, 3 were dead and 1 was alive. So that means General Vezha was still alive, and then he was taken to hospital. So I'm talking about General Shadrach Vezha here. He was taken to hospital, and other people were also taken to hospital. We do not know how many people are in hospital, and this is not being properly articulated by the ZBC. They also delayed to announce this. So rumors started to circulate, and I showed you the rumors. The first account to release this story was Majaira Gyros, which is a military account, a ghost account run by the military. After all the military platforms in Zimbabwe have been removed, so they've taken away the website, they've taken away the Twitter, they've taken away everything. So the army in Zimbabwe is not able to communicate. Unlike other militaries that are able to communicate, the Zimbabwe military is not able to communicate because they were deplatformed after the Victoria Falls incident. You remember the John Doe incident where Mnangagwa had to turn back. That is the day when they turned back and then removed all the military platforms. I showed you the John Doe day here. So what do I want to say about this whole incident? And I want to take my investigative hat. So let's say someone is driving between Kwekwe and they're going to Harare, and someone else is driving from Harare, they're going towards Bulawayo, because General Tabani Ncube here was going to be deployed to Tanzania as a defense attaché, probably around June. He was supposed to be leaving Zimbabwe to go to Tanzania, according to my understanding. So it means in between, you can easily track the vehicles. Where did they come from? Where did they go? These two vehicles, one of them must be visible. And if you do a thorough investigation, if you go to the nearby towns, so you go to Kwekwe, you go to Kadoma, you go to Chegutu, somewhere there, you also look around there. There's someone there with the CCTV, you'll be able to find out which car passed, and you can narrow down to say which cars at least. But that road is extremely busy. I was in a bus, so when I'm in Zimbabwe, sometimes I do travel in a bus so that you can't follow me around. So I travel in a bus, and the bus travels so slowly because there is literally bumper to bumper traffic between Harare and that town and those other places. So I don't know how busy this road was, and I don't know if it's possible to identify the third car. But it's very, very important to understand who was in that third car that was involved in this accident, because General Vezha was forced to overtake a vehicle, and there was a head-on collision. That means the third car was literally there when the accident happened. So someone knows something, and we hope that they'll be able to come out. So I want to play that clip for you again from yesterday.
The Zimbabwe Defense Forces ZDF has confirmed the death of 4 people, including army officers, in a road traffic accident which occurred near battlefields between Kwekwe and Kadoma this Tuesday. Brigadier General Shadrach Vezha survived the accident.
So this was deceptive. I do not know why the Zimbabwe officials are being deceptive to say that they don't know what happened. They know that the whole situation that happened there, this is taking a long time to come out in the open and say what happened. But as far as I'm concerned, and as far as other guys are concerned, these guys were involved. They do not appear to be involved in these kind of things like assassinations and all that. So they're saying General Tabani Ncube is not that kind of guy. And I said Major Tabani Ncube is not that kind of guy who would be involved in an assassination, because he is the one who was on the other car. And obviously, General Vezha was going about his own business, going back to Harare from Kwekwe. So I think for now, respectfully to the families, I will not make any other new theories on this whole situation. I'll consider this to be an accident until we find the third car. So if we find the third car and then it becomes suspicious, we'll take this up again. But I think for now, out of respect of the guys, I'll say this was probably just an accident. So let's move away from this, and let's not continue with the third force. I don't want to continue with the third force in terms of this accident, and I don't want to obviously bring distress to people with regards to the guys who were involved in the accident. Very, very sad situation. People still in hospital as we speak, and I don't know how many people are there in hospital in Kwekwe and in Gweru. There are many people who are admitted regarding this accident, so we don't know how many people are here. Because usually when when the army guys travel, they travel in a group. So you could find out that Major Taban over here could have had a number of guys in his car. So let's see what happens. And I hope the ZBC now starts providing proper updates on this accident, because this is a very critical incident that has occurred and people need the correct information. So as I said, I don't have much news today. Let me quickly run through what is in the newspapers. And I want to start with the Newsday newspaper. Businesses cannot accept the ZIG for transactions. And this is because ZIMRA is unable to handle transactions in ZIG. So this was said in Bulawayo this week by business leaders, that they are not able to accept the ZIG because ZIMRA has not turned their systems to ZIG. So I don't know what that means. And this is a crazy situation because civil servants have been paid in ZIG. That means the only people that have accepted the ZIG are the employees. Then let's go to another situation here. That is, there is a fake rent to buy for cars scheme. So people are being told to pay a deposit of 400, you get a car and you pay over 18 months. The companies involved here are in Beitbridge, and this is fake. There's a company called Valiant Motors and one called SBT Motors. Many people from as far as Harare have been found wandering the street of Beitbridge after paying the deposits, and they think that they've bought a car, but they've not bought a car, and they wander around duped. Obviously, they're duped, and they're told to go to a road called Granite Road there in Beitbridge. Then I want to show you some pictures from yesterday. So let's look at the generals. The generals attended yesterday's functions, and General Valerio Spanda was over there. It's very rare for him to come out, but yesterday he was there with the other service chiefs. So you see that he was over here, and we also have the other guys. And I think our group here is getting a bit old, but I think that is to be expected in Zimbabwe of the service chiefs. You have the older guys who are in the war veterans, but among these guys who are sitting here, you are probably looking at one of your future presidents. That is how things normally move, because the military in Zimbabwe is going to take and play a very big part going forward. And I foresee something very drastic happening within a very short space of time. Then Michael Gisi, a modeling promoter, has been arrested, and this is for abusing models. So you can see him there with the models. He is the owner of a modeling agency in Harare that is called Michael MG Promotions. He is in jail right now, from my understanding, and police are investigating a report by a 19-year-old model. So what his way of operating was that he would ask these models to come and work for him or get promotions, obviously. And then within a few weeks, he started abusing the models. So he's abused multiple women in Harare. And if you have been abused by Michael Gisi, let's get his name right. If you've been accused by this guy, Michael Gisi of MG Promotions, go to the police and report. We don't like people like Michael, evil person. So let's see if he gets arrested and gets what he deserves. And then in terms of the newspapers, I'm not going to go into the newspapers today. It's a Friday. There's the Independent newspaper. There is the Manika Post, H Metro. All these newspapers are publishing. I'm not going to go into them. Please go and have a look. We also have our journalists and our agreement with JCTV in Harare, where they provide us updates during the day. So go and have a look at that. So today is a down day for most people because of all the traveling from Mrambinda, where there was a lot of activity yesterday. So I want to end it here. Let us meet again tomorrow morning. If something big comes up today, I'll be back here in the evening to give you an update. But otherwise, thank you very much. And let me look at the comments before I go, because I know that some people want to give me an update here. So let me clarify this situation of the head-on collision. Mukoma Chao says, Dr. Mteneri Kupi Gambakwe, your combination was awesome. Bring him back. I'll bring him back. Dr. Mteneri is currently busy with some project overseas. So as soon as he comes back, I'll let you guys know. And then everyone who's appreciating, I thank you very much. And as thank you for the support. All the people that have joined Gambakwe Club, join on YouTube. If you click the join button, you'll be able to support us on a monthly basis so that we can build our head office in Harare. And then Mkoma Patrick says, Mdenda told to restore Chamisa's MPs. Any update? No, that's not possible. Once there's an election and it's declared, you can't come back. So that's how the election in Zimbabwe works. You can't come back again. So the next thing to happen is a fresh election. That is what Chamisa is demanding. And then Mkoma T1 saying that the car was for Major Gumbo. CX5 Ncube was a passenger. Yes, I do agree. So as I said, the ZBC needs to provide proper information. Currently, they're providing correct information and they are providing half information. So people are suspicious and we now have to go to the wrong people for updates. Whereas that the correct people who can give us updates to say, this is the generals who had an accident, this is the majors who were involved, this is the where they are, and we go and see them in hospital. How difficult is that? So at the moment, what is happening is rumors are moving because of the failure by ZBC to clarify. And why do I say ZBC? Those are the guys that are producing half a story. If you look at the other newspapers, so let's go and look at the Herald right now and see if they've got this story. So if you look at the Herald, they don't have this story at all. It's as if nothing happened, right? Okay, now let's look at what Opam Chinguru said here. I want to share with you what Opam Chinguru says, because I said I want us to be accurate. I like the military guys and I want to do them justice. So let's look at what Opam Chinguru has said today. And I'll take a moment because I want this to be clarified. I don't want us to come up with the wrong story here. So, in a statement yesterday, Mchinguru said, I've learned with shock and sadness the tragic death of 4 members of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces and injury of other 4 in the road traffic near Kwekwe along the Harare-Bulawayo Highway. The unfortunate loss of life and injuries occurred at a time when the country was preparing to celebrate so forth, so forth, so forth. She's talking about independence here. And then she talks about Brigadier Shadrack Vezha, Major Tabani Ncube, Major Mkondi Gumbo, and Sergeant Chakabayo were involved in a road traffic accident at the 180-kilometer peg along the Harare-Bulawayo Road, about 2 kilometers from Battlefields. According to preliminary investigations, it was established that Brigadier Vezha attempted to overtake in an identified vehicle, encroaching into the oncoming lane, resulting in head-on collision with a Mazda CX-5. So, why I think that this is not correct is that it appears these guys were traveling together, and the CX-5 was someone else. So it's clear that the 2 army vehicles were different people, with different majors. So the other major was on one car, and the other major was on other car. So that is what happened, and we obviously have clarified this. And I think it's important for us to clarify that 2 majors were head-on. The reason why people thought that was an assassination is because they thought, why would one major be in the very same spot where another major is, but in different cars? So I thought that was also a logical conclusion to reach. But after understanding who the guys are, and the fact that Major Tabani Ncube was supposed to be going to Tanzania, where he was going to be a defense attaché, a promotion, why would he put himself in a head-on collision? So I think these are simple matters to clarify so that people can understand what's happening. So thank you very much, everybody. And Mkoma Tricky says, how finding out Edo Akafa. I've explained to you what happened, and this is what I'm talking about. That according to the guys that talked to me, this was probably a proper accident, but we are looking for that, or they are looking for the 3rd car. Who was in that 3rd car that caused the accident? And I'm not saying that person was in an assassination, but who is that person? Are we able to investigate, especially where majors are involved, to say who is that person? If a car travels in Zimbabwe, why would we not see that car? How difficult is it to trace a vehicle? Especially when you're talking about areas where there's so many army bases. Why don't you put some sort of system to investigate? How difficult is it to put some camera system of some sort around your bases so that you see what's happening around your roads? as it approaches? How do you see the things that are happening around your roads? And I think Mkoma today says, as a driver, I rule out foul play, our roads are not safe. And Mkoma Edwin says, Hakuna my elections are Notanga. And then Mkoma Lehman says, what a coincidence for two majors to be involved in the same accident and the third car to be missing. So that is what I also thought. But as I said, out of respect for these families, I do not want to make any assumptions about the majors, what mission Major Tabani Ncube was, because he was he was going to be promoted. And I'd like to thank you very much, everyone who is understanding and all the guys that have given us information. As I said, Major Tabani Ncube here was in the other car. And currently, 4 other soldiers, as we heard from Opam Chinguri there, have been admitted in hospital in Gweru and in Kwekwe. But General Vezha and Major Tabani Ncube, they were over there in that accident. So I want to end it here today. And I saw Kuti Passion Java was in Mrambinda yesterday. So I withdraw everything I said yesterday about Java. I like Java very much. Java is one of the smartest guys that I've ever met. If you spend time with Passion Java, you have an appreciation of what I'm talking about. He's one of the very promising young guys, and I hope that he would, and I wish that he would not associate himself with the ZANU-PF. He would be helping a lot of young people because he's very wise. The things that he told me about media over the past 5 years, I've been interacting with Java in one way or the other. He's made a very big impact in the Zimbabwean media space. But I think he tends to, he doesn't understand this concept of starting in a very difficult way. So I think if ZANU-PF say they want to help him and they'll give him all the comforts, then he finds it difficult to move away from that. In Gambakwe, when I go to Zimbabwe, I struggle with the people. I walk on the streets. I go in a bus. Like literally, that's what my life is like. I do not live a luxurious or comfortable life, but we'll build this thing until it's successful. So I think for people like Java, because he's such a smart young man, he's got a bright future, and he must not associate himself with the wrong people, especially the issue that is very close to my heart, the death of Pastor Messiah. This case, you must not take it lightly. Anas Court, they must account for this death of Pastor Messiah. They must not take it lightly. They must make sure that this thing is investigated. And until that is done and Scott is cleared, people should be staying clear of him until we find out who killed Pastor Messiah. And this should never happen again. We should never see the death of another person during a campaign. We're all brothers. So no one should kill another person for a campaign or for an MP seat. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And as I said, I'll be back tonight if something drastic happens, or otherwise I'll see you tomorrow morning. Thank you very much to everyone.